Hello, welcome once again to AmFed2. The hot news is out. 2024 US presidential election is over, and as expected, and I was almost sure, Donald Trump is going to become the next president. So the ex-president is going to become the next president. Certainly, globally, there is a mixed feeling about Trump's victory. Many are expecting as a good move towards America's financial strategies, business strategies. At the same time, there is also a worry about Trump's making so eccentric decisions many times as he does. And eventually, don't expect something major difference between Democrat and a Republican in terms of America's war policy or different foreign countries related policies and all. So as an entrepreneur, many of us are looking forward what is their major changes going to happen for the business world. During this year, when I could visit different states of USA, especially some of the pro-industry, pro-business states like Texas or Michigan, we could see a drive towards reducing the Chinese dependency, for gaining more manufacturing potential, more manufacturing capability for the US industries or US companies. There is a definite and planned strategy called China plus one or C plus one or plus one strategy. The strategy C plus one means many of the OEMs, many of the industries are dependent on Chinese manufacturing for parts, components, and many raw materials and finished or semi-finished goods. So keeping a monopoly or a single source dependency can largely affect any political situation or any cost defining situations. So making it more independent or diversify the manufacturing sources. Every company in US is driving to develop new sources or alternate sources than the Chinese manufacturers. The other growing economies like India, Vietnam, Thailand, Turkey are the selected companies. And we know US, the second hub of manufacturing is Mexico, mainly because of the labor availability and the low cost production compared to US. So as Trump take over, so there is a large import tariff imposed on Chinese products to reduce the Chinese dependency and force the companies to develop alternate sources. And since many companies are dependent on Mexican firms, Mexican companies, Mexican industries, there is also a possibility of Chinese companies camouflaging in Mexican market, set up the factories over there, make the products and export to US. As Trump takes over, there is also expectation that there's an import tariff increase on Mexican products as well, mainly to resist the Chinese companies trading through the Mexican market. And also, Trump is infamous or popular for his drive for isolating the Mexican border or reducing any immigration from Mexico. Donald Trump has become taking a second term. Obama, Bush in the recent past also has ruled 2 terms. Trump is getting a second opportunity like many other recent presidents like Obama who got a second term, Bush who got a second term. But the specialty with Trump is he's not getting a consecutive term. So this has happened in the history of America more than a century back during the time of Grover Cleveland. I think it was in 1891. Trump, when he's taking over, the import tariff is one major topic in front of the business world. How it is going to affect the other countries? Probably a Chinese resistance can give leverage to economy like India. But how far India is prepared to take up that challenge, fill up the volume, production, the logistics, the other nitty-gritties, the documentations, all to ease the export process is the big question in front of the Indian traders or Indian exporters, and also the bodies like government bodies like DGFT. So that is something which Indian economy and Indian traders has to take it seriously and leverage the existing or the upcoming opportunity. That is number one. On the other hand, when US is going to impose higher tariff, how it is going to affect the US market? In the case of automobile, which is closely related to us, any increase in the import tariff, say like a baseline tariff of 10% increase, can cause an Audi bestseller, a Q5 SUV, straight away $3,500 increase over its base price of $45,400. So similar way, an import tariff can affect many of the European car manufacturers. Volkswagen is one of the popular cars in US. Almost 700,000 is what the 2023 sales volume reported in US. So any increase in the import tariff can affect those prospects of those cars which are coming from outside the country. So that's number one. So whether it is going to really benefit American market is another question. The import tariff can largely affect the price of the final commodity. When the production cost, the labor cost, the other expenses are adding up to the cost of end price of the product, it is going to cost very high. It can eventually lead to high demand, and ultimately it can end up in inflation as well, unless otherwise it is properly managed and facilitated for the in-house companies to make the production more economical and quality oriented. Global trade affecting because of the higher tariff can also affect the cash flow, the rotation, and the economic agility. So taking all this into consideration, we have to keep a check on to the new president and also the policies. Probably Trump, as he was campaigning in the elections, he wanted to make many restrictions, many controls to make America great again. But how far it is possible through very mad or eccentric decisions or stubborn decisions on the trade, that's very important. So we hope on the second term, Trump will take decisions very calculated, very wise, and favorable to the economy and also the business world. Sometimes the import duty can also benefit in terms of innovations. For example, something called a chicken tax. When Europe was imposing a higher tax on the poultry products of US, in return, President Lyndon Johnson has imposed 25% hike on the automakers for the auto products from Europe. So that has eventually increased the price and gave an opportunity for the Ford, which is a US brand, US born brand, to develop its F-Series truck, and which has went on to become a massive success in the US market for almost 2 generations. Remember, now the world order is something more different, and many countries are gaining power and influence the market. So we should expect the advisors surrounding Trump is giving a better advice to him to take more wise decisions to make things better. Thank you, and we'll keep discussing more realistic matters in AMFACTO.